How has right-wing intolerance set the stage for left-wing intolerance despite the legitimacy of the left's grievances?
Well, the left wing is increasingly starting to close the circle on intolerant behavior. So for instance, again, George H.W. Bush, I don't agree with him. But he's a normal person that represents a different political party than me and different political values than me. So I believe in democracy, which means that I believe in your freedom, even if I don't agree with your politics, and you should believe in my freedom. And we come together and have what's called a free election. And in the free election, George H.W. Bush lost, okay? Bill Clinton becomes the most popular president in anyone's lifetime who's living, okay? No, you shouldn't just roll over if you're a right wing. You should participate in the political process. But what happens is, come Clinton's second term, instead of engaging the actual democratic process, what the right wing does is, okay, they find what was a real estate deal that he did when he was governor that may have some shady going on. Okay, I'm not above suggesting that's possible. In fact, you want to know how altruistic we are. The Democrats were the ones that said nothing is there, so yes, appoint an independent counsel. Okay, that's people that believe in democracy. We didn't do this, you're not going to let it go, so fine, we believe in democracy. You have your independent counsel, investigate us. And the Republicans did not find anything. Okay, but instead of closing up shop on that issue, they spent $36 million of taxpayers' money in 4 years to investigate, ostensibly to continue investigating the real estate deal that they never found anything on. But they kept the investigation open so that anything by which they may find him prosecutable, okay, is available, readily available to get him to be prosecuted by. And that was an extramarital affair. Mm-hmm. Which again, his wife has him sleeping on the couch, fine. It doesn't affect the price of milk, okay?
Speaking of cigars, just kidding.
So if you want to tell me, like Joe Scarborough, the Republican representative who is now an MSNBC host who voted for impeachment, if you're like him and you're telling me sex doesn't matter, okay, but the president cannot be allowed to lie under oath. Okay, I can't argue with you that he lied about a blowjob, and the president should not be allowed to lie. There's only a certain amount, though, that I can argue with Joe Scarborough about that. Okay? But I know what's really going on. Instead of saying, damn, the American people clearly want this guy. He has the highest approval rating in history. He was elected twice. How are we going to regroup and get our foothold in the democratic process? No. We're going to ask him about an affair. We know he's going to lie. And then we're going to prosecute him for having lied about a consensual blowjob. Okay? Step one in the right wing's intolerance of the democratic process. Step two, someone who the American people did not choose, George W. Bush, is appointed president by the Supreme Court, the right-wing led Supreme Court, who voted against right-wing values by not allowing Florida to recount their votes. They betrayed their own values, right-wing values. To get a right-winger elected president. Okay, fine. That was all legal. Okay, that was all legal. Okay, but now during the George W. Bush presidential administration, state houses, Republican state houses, redistrict voting districts for Congress in such a jigsaw puzzle way that they group all the Democrats in the state into this crazy shaped single district. While if you're in a big state, you may have 3 or 4 other districts that you're allowing all the Republicans to occupy. So that means that even if more Democrats voted in the state, they're only going to get 1 seat because of the way you shape that district, while the Republicans get the other 3, 4. They get 4 sent to Congress in that state, and Democrats only get 1, even though that's not the will of the people. So while left-wingers today are arguing that enslaved people are not slaves, which is clearly a false statement, the right wing isn't caught in these ridiculous linguistic squabbles. They're consolidating power in a way that's undemocratic. Step 3, okay, someone like Barack Obama, it's no surprise that Democrats want universal health care. It's only been something they've wanted for 75 years. And this Democratic person won. So it's not insane that he then tried to accomplish it. He says to himself, okay, what we want is what Europe has. We want a single-payer system. That is never going to happen in the United States the way that it is. What I care about is, one way or the other, the tens of millions of Americans that are screwed without health care. I want them to have coverage. So what am I going to do? I'm going to use the Republicans' plan. Okay, Obamacare was Republican care, created in the Heritage Foundation, which is a right-wing think tank, put into law by the Republicans' presidential nominee, Mitt Romney, when he was governor. This is a Republican universal health care plan. And someone like Barack Obama believes in democracy, believes in negotiation, believes in compromise, and says, the way I want everyone to get health care is not going to happen. I want everyone to get health care, so I'm going to choose my opponent's health care system because at least people will get insured. And by the way, it is a capitalistic system. It created tens of millions of new customers for the insurance industry.
Yep.
Now again, if you're opposed to it, I believe you have a right to not just roll over, but the notion, the indignation that this is a pariah signifying the end of America is, I mean, what is it? Because you didn't feel that way when your political party came up with a plan. You have the American people, certainly the right-wing American public, okay, taking a stance of utter indignation at the expense of logic, at the expense of plain reality, amplified by Fox News, who is not using journalistic standards. MSNBC employs Joe Scarborough, the Republican congressman who voted to impeach Clinton. He has a show. They employ 1 or 2 other people as hosts of their own shows who were in the George W. Bush administration in top positions. Okay, so this is an allegedly left-wing news outlet that is giving top Republicans, career Republicans, their own shows. And these very Republicans who I don't agree, I'm sure, with what their policies were when they were in office, they agree with what I'm saying. Now you have at least about half of America galvanized under indignation and emotion at the expense of logic. The other half, the left, sees, well, logic and truth and compromise doesn't work. And that gives voice then to the most extreme elements now, and legitimacy to the most extreme elements of the left. It comes full circle. I'm a movie critic, okay? So I'm going to use one of my favorite movies, a masterpiece, Do the Right Thing, which is also quite apropos of what's going on in the country, right? Okay? Obviously, Radio Raheem should not have been killed by the damn police. Okay? And there is no excuse for that. But no one on the left will ever point out, forget my feelings, it's on the screen, Spike Lee put it on the screen, that Radio Raheem died of violence he instigated, brought about by bugging out's intolerance of Italians who had the audacity within their own Italian establishment to have representations of Italians on the wall. Sal is closing up. He's closed. And he says, some other people from the neighborhood, some other black and Hispanic folks from the neighborhood, they want to eat. All right, open up, let them eat. I'm proud to feed these people. That's the line. Spike Lee put that in the movie. Who cares what my feelings are? Look at the movie, it's on the screen. He lets them in, says he's proud to feed this community, which are not Italians. And who are some of the people that come in? Bugging Out, who has a problem with Italians representing themselves on the walls of their own establishment. He wants him to put the music down. So sue him. And Sal doesn't have the right to use his baseball bat to destroy Radio Raheem's stereo. And Sal should incur whatever legal consequences come from that. Whether it's paying Radio Raheem for a new stereo, whether it's, I don't know, spending a night in jail, whatever it is, okay? He shouldn't just be allowed to break Radio Raheem's property. But he was minding his own business, serving his community, and Radio Raheem was instigating a frontal assault, escalating said assault to the breaking point. And Radio Raheem is the one that is strangling Sal on the street, about to kill him, when it's the cops that pull Radio Raheem off of the Italian Radio Raheem was about to kill. Now, none of this is an expression of my beliefs in civil rights. It's what's on the screen, independently existing as truth, regardless of what you or I think. Spike Lee put Buggin' Out's intolerance towards Italians on the screen. Spike Lee put Radio Raheem's instigation of violence on the screen. Spike Lee put Radio Raheem's violence against Sal almost to the point of killing him on the screen. I understand why Mookie threw the garbage can through the pizzeria. I understand as best as I can, not having necessarily lived it. I can imagine the being fed up of seeing your people unjustly killed, which is why I will march with Mookie on the street to protest that if it's a peaceful protest. And of all people, we left-wingers should have the depth of compassion, of empathy, of acknowledgement of the truth as the means through which we bring about a more peaceful and a more tolerant society. The alternative universe would have been if Bill Clinton, instead of being entrapped and being impeached, the right wing said, okay, maybe we don't represent the values of America, or maybe we do. Let's get back, and through the means of democracy, let's show people that we do represent what's right, and let's get him next election. Obama's the president. Geez, man, look, we know this was our own plan, his healthcare system, but that was created in a think tank. That's what one governor put in place. That's not what we all believe. So we don't believe it. And no, we're not going to just roll over. Instead, he's not American. He's a Muslim. He's not legitimate. You know? That would have been an alternate universe, which does not give bandwidth to the most extreme elements of the left, who, based on the strength of their indignation, have themselves become fascist-like, in that not on the basis of truth, not on the basis of tolerance, but on the basis of their indignation, you better toe the line. They just would have been better having a community meeting at Sal's.